Here we are, that today in Nairobi, we have the Janjaweed being allowed to open an office. This is a genocidal organ that tried to eliminate black people, and it killed millions of black people. It was not even religious, because the people in Darfur are largely Muslim, profess the Muslim faith, but they were killed because they were not Arabs by this group. It's a record, it's a matter of public notoriety, that the Janjaweed, which has now been given an office in Nairobi to operate from, has a history of trying to eliminate black people. What do we stand for as a country? Who has benefited from that process? Where is the due process leading to that particular decision? Article 10 of the Constitution is very clear. And it's very clear by stating that policy decisions, and that tax the executive, must be subjected to public participation. At the very least, a paper should have been tabled in Parliament on the issue of Kenya wishing to go to bed with the Janjaweed. Then we could debate it. Also surprising is that this thing has happened so soon after the Addis Ababa debacle. I call it a debacle because, looking at the evidence, such things don't happen overnight. There must have been negotiations and must have been interactions between this group and the regime running the Republic of Kenya. So, there must have been intelligence that Kenya cannot produce a chair of the AU who can be a neutral arbiter, because the government is in bed with factions that are responsible for undermining the rule of law and issues of governance on the continent. So I'm sure people knew. And we know some time back, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto was proposed to be chair the negotiations over the Sudan. And we remember the government in Khartoum stating in very clear terms that it could not allow it, because they perceived him to be biased. A few years later, you can see that their fears were not idle. Their fears have been proven by the presence of the Janjaweed here. We have seen matters happening in this country where even a group pronounced its opposition to the government of the Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, from Nairobi. So, what is Pan-African about that? When you look at the genocidal wars in the Congo, what's Pan-African about the Janjaweed being here? When you look at the genocide in Darfur, in the Sudan. Madam Speaker, I think we need to take a good look at ourselves as Kenyans in the mirror and ask ourselves, what is going on? I'm almost being persuaded that we are getting to a point whereby the Republic might need to invoke Article 144 of the Constitution. For those who care to do, you can check out what Article 144 of the Constitution provides. Because some things that are happening defy logic, defy any attempt at understanding them, and can only happen outside the sphere of a well-constructed syllogism. Madam Speaker, it's a very, very heavy heart that today I stand in this august house as a powerless legislator, a house that has totally failed to have any impact on the executive, a house that has got absolutely nothing to write home about its achievements. Absolutely nothing. Even if you gave them the back of a postage stamp and a felt pen, they would not feel it with any achievement you have had in terms of checking the executive. We have not, and we don't understand the insignia on our own desks here: Deputy Minority Whip, Minority Whip, Minority Whip, and a Majority Leader, whatever, which is a clear statement that this House is not an extension of the executive. We'd be having a government side and an opposition side if the executive was given from this House. The executive in this country was directly elected by the people to be accountable to this House. The structure of the Constitution is such that the president must be lobbying and begging this House to allow him to do what he wants to do as a check. If it's appointments, they come to Parliament for clearance, be it in the National Assembly or here. If it's a budget, it comes to Parliament for approval. But things have been turned on their head. And today, it's MPs kneeling before the president instead of the other way around. So I'm totally ashamed and embarrassed that I belong to a parliament that is totally incapacitated for reasons that I don't know. Everything has been turned on its head.